Hey everyone, this is Richard from Two Honks and Kevin. Do you hear that sexy music? It's not for me, that's for you. It's for you to do something sexy. Kevin wants you to go to our Facebook, or Twitter, or Instagram and give us a follow. It's just Two Honks and Kevin, all spelled out. And when you're done with that, feel free to join our Discord at Two Honks and Kevin. I'm gonna let this happen simple. I'm gonna let this happen spelled out. Don't ask me why.
I thought about muting it,
And
but
don't ask me why Kevin thinks
Nah.
that's sexy.
we're gonna let this happen.
We're all judgment.
Too good.
I
Too
actually
good.
have to do work,
Thank you.
not do stupid podcasts.
9:30 at night.
Jeez.
9:30 at night. Get a life.
You better get out of here,
Right?
Funky.
Now for something completely different.
I got Debo.
We got a hater on our hands.
Right?
Well, two honks and Kim just messing around. You'll never know what they talk about on two honks. Two honks and Kevin. You might hear something about the NBA. Maybe they'll just make your day on two honks. Two honks and Kevin. It's sports and life and family too. Let's all listen to two honks and a Kevin. Yeehaw! I just crapped my pants.
I just grabbed my pants when my wife came in here and Debo me.
This music is dedicated to Kevin's wife.
That punch card got burned
That's
up.
for you. It's for you to do something sexy. Kevin wants you to go to our
All right.
Oh, you got more music going on. Sorry, you missed that.
That was for Amy's wife, or Kevin's wife, who just straight ran in there
I didn't even hear
and
it.
bullied and bullied Kevin.
Right? Straight bully beat down up in here.
That's how it happens in the
Man,
Johnson
I'd call the
household.
ACLU if I were you.
And we just brush it off and chime on, right?
Man,
Hey,
I'm sure
pick our
someone.
bottles and it's like
Yep,
deuces.
we need to start our own march, Kevin.
Kevin's Marriage Matters, KMM.
Right?
Nice.
Right. For 20 cents a day, you can sponsor me.
Yeah, you can feed him a can of beans.
It's just noise canceling headphones. That's all you need. Just like
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah.
Tune it out.
All right. So,
What up, JD?
not much, man.
yep.
Been a while since I've chatted with y'all. How y'all doing?
We missed you, man.
My
Back
bad.
on video this time.
Right?
Right.
I apologize in advance.
So we got the date of September 16th, 2020. And of course, as already announced, we have JD here with us. Just thought have a little bit of extra conversation about some things. But I guess before we get into it, just want to see how everybody's week's going.
Not bad. We had a guy quit work Monday. Put his 2
Got a good
weeks
thing or
in.
bad guy?
Well, we just fired a guy 2 weeks ago, and then another guy just left, and it's two people in our operations. So I've been helping out in operations. So it's just it's a revolving door around there right now. I got people getting fired and quitting, and so yeah. So it's been a little. It's been an interesting week so far. That's for sure.
Mm. How about you, Kevin? Anybody quitting FedEx?
Nah, we're hiring.
Yeah, I know.
I'm trying to get more people.
Yeah.
Work's going fine. I've just been busy with the teenager, man. She had basically a game every night this week, so that's it. That's it.
Mm.
It's been on her schedule, basically, running around.
Good. And how about you,
What we
JD?
do.
Not a damn thing. Just
working
video games, work, and then get done, and then play some video games. That's it.
I miss my video games right now.
Right?
Did your wife ground you from him?
Nah, I just haven't had time, man. Like, hey, when it's like
I hear
this,
you.
I don't have time for it. Because I normally put in like an hour a day. Like, I'll be honest, I normally put an hour in a day.
Mhm.
Ain't been happening here lately.
That's a
So
shame.
reserved for sleep.
That's a
Right?
shame.
For basketball, that hour a day is for basketball. For me, anyway.
I was gonna say I went outside today and played a game of pickup, and I scored more points than Kawhi Leonard did.
He's got jokes. I'm sure the defense. I'm sure the caliber of defense was just as good too.
Is it Kawhi's fault though? Is it really Kawhi's fault?
So look, I think JD, I don't know if you're on board with NBA talk for a minute.
Well, I'm not gonna talk. I'll listen. Like
So-
I don't know anything about it.
So
He just gets up and leaves.
I'm gonna.
I'll be back.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, I don't think it's necessarily Kawhi's fault per se, because he is who he is, and the Clippers knew who they were getting, right? You have a guy that is a leader, but he's not the leader, right? Unfortunately, I think you have a couple of loudmouths on the team like Beverly and Morris who are the leaders, and you don't want Beverly as your starting point guard at all. If you have Beverly as your starting point guard, you're not winning a championship. That automatically that should be said. And Morris has a crappy attitude anyways. And Paul George hasn't showed up for a playoff series in how long? I mean, how many times did he screw the Pacers over? I mean, between him and Hibbert? I mean, so pick your poison.
It's a team build. Yeah, I believe it too. That's a player team build issue. Like, it's just a chemistry thing. Because, I mean, on paper, they look better than that Raptors team on paper, but the Raptors team has dogs.
They had Paul Gasol, Van Fleet, Lowry. I mean, they had people
Good
that
leadership, yeah.
And Lowry was their leader. Leonard was the best player on the court, but he wasn't the leader. And I don't think Leonard ever is going to be the leader. Because I don't think that's who he is, and that's to no fault of his own. There's plenty of fantastic players out there that just aren't. They're not going to be the loudest voices in the room. So yeah, I don't really blame Leonard for it. No.
I think they just played a really bad Game 7 and got beat, and I don't think the Clippers are. Or yeah, they were up 3-1. Yeah,
They're up 3-1. Yeah.
But ultimately, what I'm getting at is that I just don't think that team has gelled at all.
No, you're right.
I think that team's gonna be totally different next year. Once
it has
they
to be
get that chemistry and all. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm just not so quick to say this or that about a player. I guess. I mean, they lost. Like, Denver was unbelievable and made the changes that they need to make and made the I don't know. I don't know if it was hard in the bubble. I can't stand Patrick Beverly. I think he's got to be a cancer to every team just because of his antics and just, he's just the type of player that if I'm playing basketball, I don't want him on the floor with me. I don't care how good of a defender he is. It's just that I don't know. There's just I don't know how you guys.
And he's not that good if he's getting 40 points dropped on him. I mean,
yeah,
you're not that good of a defender.
I think he's that aggravating defender that can get under people's skin.
Like a Lance Stevenson type defender.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He is very much like a Lance Stevenson, but worse.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
what about you, Kevin?
But,
Kevin.
Said, what about you, Kevin?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I just think that they walked into it like
he's thinking about his punishment.
Yeah,
they get that PTSD, like 1,000 miles there.
They were penciled in, and they just thought that it was. They thought that they were going to be there, and that they didn't have to focus on anything until they were at the conference finals. So,
hey, Kevin. UC just texted me. He said his doghouse is ready for you.
Hey, man, I know he got, as long as he worked on it, it should have air conditioning, a beer fridge, and all that. So, man,
it's got a basement.
Might be an upgrade for
a little
me.
Man cave, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe you can do your stupid podcast in there.
He's stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good to see some things never change.
Right. I'm glad I entertained you guys.
I did have a flashback, like, oh, God.
It was like right when it started, too. She just busted open the door. What are you doing?
Right. What are you doing?
Get out of my office.
My spider senses are tingling. Nice.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
That's great. Yeah, so I think that's really all. I mean, do any of you guys have anything else to say about it? I mean, I think it's been ad nauseum. Nothing we can say that some other person hasn't already said on ESPN or a podcast.
Yeah, I really didn't listen to too much of the hate. I mean, I've just not the hate, just the people dogging on the Clippers or whatever. I mean, like I said, I just don't. I kept waiting for them to gel though, and I was like, dude, once they gel, it's over because you got 3 scorers with Lou Williams, and then obviously PG and Kawhi Leonard. And I was just waiting, for them to connect, but they just weren't. So who knows if it was the bubble or if it was, whatever. But
they were overconfident and they got snuffed.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really and that's why people are making fun of them. It's not, I'm sorry, but
yeah, they should have dominated.
They should have, and they shouldn't have, eased up on those other 2 games.
Yep. Give up those leads.
So I guess we'll pivot here now that everybody's turned off the podcast. As to I think the main purpose of JD's visit. Hey, JD, why don't you go ahead and give us a little spiel about this documentary?
Sure, yeah. So just kind of on a whim, Susie and I, the old lady and I, watched this documentary the other day called The Social Dilemma. And we got done with it, and I was like, man, I bet this would be something that the guys would be interested in talking about, seeing just kind of the psychology and just how that works, right? And so basically it's just about social media and its current status and the way that we as a society are using it. And it talks to all of these developers, like CEOs, heads of Facebook, Reddit, Instagram, Pinterest, all those kind of big names in the social media industry that kind of really hit probably a decade or so ago. And all the developers and stuff like that. And they're like, you know what? This is not at all what we intended these things to be used for. And so it's just a lot of really interesting things that I thought would be. I was kind of curious to see some of your guys' opinions on it and see what you had to think. So it's So if you guys haven't seen it, anybody listening or watching or whatever, where you're at, like it's really worth it's about an hour and a half, and it's worth your time just to check it out, I think.
Yeah. Kevin, have you watched it?
I watched it today before we went to the volleyball game.
And
yeah.
Richard, I know you've watched it, correct? Okay. Yeah, I got it in yesterday. One of the first things that stuck out to me was, I think one of the very first opening lines or whatever, it talks about 11-year-old having a phone. And if you guys remember last week, I was even talking about that with Ella, like, man, I kind of feel like she's too young for a phone, yada, yada. So we kind of went down that conversation, but I mean, I feel like that documentary, it tells you a lot of stuff we already know, but it just kind of paints it in that picture of like, man, it really is not great that so much is being tracked, so much just the addiction of it. I mean, we all are doing. I mean, we're all addicted to our phones. Like, I don't care who you are. It's just something you grab. You don't. Anytime you got 5 minutes, you just grab it. It's your third hand at this point. I feel like for most people. So, but yeah, I mean, if for those that haven't seen it, I mean, it does. It really just puts to light kind of how easily I like the way they did it. So for those that haven't seen it, they basically make it sound like, let's say like Kevin gets on YouTube, and the way that they're portraying it is that there's somebody, kind of behind the phone that's like, ooh, send him a notification. Let's send Kevin a notification. Then he opens up Facebook or whatever. Then let's send Kevin, videos that he's interested in. And it's basically trying to show you how, they control you to look at their website longer, and how they have designed these softwares to make it more addicting, to make their apps more addicting. So it's definitely interesting. I'll let someone else talk about it though.
What stuck out the most to me is when they dipped into, I don't know what the guy's name was, but they were talking about like this generation, like the age ranges, right? And then they were talking about like the suicide rates and stuff like that. And like, and it basically tapped into. I felt like it tapped more into like teenage girls and how like the suicide rate between these basically middle school girls. I have a middle school girl that I'm raising right now, right? And so that like drew me in more to be like, hey, we're raising these kids, and this is all they know. This is all they know is getting the gratification of a like button, and it's just like one of the things that puts like pressure on depression and stuff like that. Another thing that tapped into, so like when they started out, it's basically insiders at these companies, and they're going through and be like, hey, like we got to help, bring out, like, talk about the bad points about it. Like, as many good points about it, there's bad points about it. They were trying to bring that to the attention of people, and people were just like, oh, nope, we're just gonna slide this email somewhere else and not pay attention to it, right?
Yeah.
So it was interesting on that, but I mean, like, and I get it. Like, even like I feel like I'm a strong person without it, but like, just the phones in general, they're so accessible, man. Like, you're just looking for a notification, just like, and you don't need it. You can be busy doing something. Like, I'll be at work busy doing something else, and I'm like, I'm gonna check my phone to see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't need to. I'm doing other stuff, like, and I don't need to. But you're so used to it, and it's just like that one thing that just like gives you that gratification, and you're like, I checked it. Like you can do without it.
I think part of that though is that like it's our everything. So if you have a thought, the first thing you do when you have a thought is you just grab your phone, because you're either going to jot it down or you're going to look it up. You know what I'm saying? Or you're going to tell someone, or you're going to, I mean, we all do it. You get an idea and you're like, or you get sporting news, we immediately text each other, and then it's a conversation, and then it just, I don't know, man. It's there, like we always say, there's a lot of good, that comes with all of it, but it's in a way, it's good to kind of see some light being thrown on what's bad, so we can use it. Like one of the things that I said after I watched it, I was like, all right, cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, like I'm not getting rid of my phone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think no one's going to change. Like, we're all just going to, I mean, if anything, it just told me like I need to really sit down with my kids, and just make sure that when that day comes and they have that phone, and I mean, they're already doing it though. Like anything that involves a like or a share or whatever, they get all like, even if it's just some little kid game that they play, like my daughter has this game that she plays with her cousins and stuff, and it's like, just any like that they get just means so much to them.
What the thing that really caught my attention, and you guys kind of touched on it a little bit, was and I know Rich, we kind of talked a little bit, and you're kind of doing some stuff on like machine learning and things like that, but the way these things are built, like the design of them, is built with the same mentality that a slot machine in a casino is, right? Like even down to the sound, right? Like you get a notification, you get a ding, and so you're like, oh, what was that, right? And you look, and the stuff that you're mentioning, Kevin, about the suicide rates of the like middle-aged girls, so like I think it was like 10 and 11 to like 16 or something like that.
Yeah.
In the past decade has increased 300%. Like, and that is insane. And in a decade. And it's just, the thing that really caught my attention was when they asked the developers and like the CEOs and the guys behind these platforms, and they're like, oh yeah, no, my kids, and I don't have social media. I don't have a Facebook account. I don't have, like, no, because I know how they're built, and I refuse, and I will not take part in that. And to me, I was just like, holy shit. Like, the guys that built it don't have it on their own phone and don't let their family use it. Like, that's a drug is what it is. Like, you have a dealer who's like, yeah, I'll give you all you want, but I'm not gonna take it. Like, I'll sell it to you all day.
Don't get higher than your own supply.
Right. Exactly. It's the same mentality.
part of my thought goes on that to where it's only a drug if it's a problem, right? So like if you can get on Facebook and not get jealous because some family's on vacation and your family's not on vacation, or you know what I'm saying, or if someone looks prettier than you, or you know, if some other married couple looks happier than you, you know, I think that's where a lot of this depression and, you know, everybody always thinks somebody else has a better, happier lives, and so it kind of can make you feel down. But you know, I think there is a large variety of people that they can just use it for checking up with their friends, or you know, just you know, using it for good conversations or whatever. But the majority, you know, I think it's the opposite way. It's a time waster is what it is. I mean, you know, how much more productive could we be, you know, without them, you know?
And I think that poses a good question to Rich. How much more productive, and like how, because I know you don't have Facebook, and I think you said you got rid of something else too, right?
Yeah, I got rid of Reddit right after I watched it. I did two things after I watched it. I deleted.
That's your thing.
I did two things. Right. I got rid of Reddit, and then I also went to my notifications and apps and disabled almost everything. Mm-hmm. So I don't get notifications anymore. So literally, if I want to check my email, like my email doesn't notify me. Like I literally have to think about, I need to check my email. And the next day I did it, I didn't check my email till like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Like I didn't even think to look at it. So some things I do now. So when I, like Kevin, I play games a lot. And so the thing I used to do during like loading screens is I used to just pick up my phone, and then the game would be sitting there and I would still keep looking. I don't do that anymore. So instead of picking up my phone, I pick up a book. So I have a book next to me all the time. So if I have a loading screen, I'll read a page that takes me 30 seconds to read, and then put it down and keep playing my game. So just things like that have really helped me. You know, I'm of the opinion that if with Facebook especially, if people care about me, they're going to contact me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't need Facebook. I don't need any of that stuff. You know, like the people I care about, I talk to almost every day anyways. Right. So there's no purpose of me to get on Facebook. You know, if I want to share pictures, I can share pictures over instant message, you know, over SMS. I don't need Facebook to share pictures. Right. And the same thing with the you know, the mental health aspect of it, right? And I think Blake last week kind of touched on it a little bit in terms of the mask situation, where the situation could just drive you absolutely nuts with the anti-mask and the pro-mask and all, and that's just a single situation. And if you're just a person trying to figure it out, the whole thing can drive you nuts. And you know, I don't think as people we're meant to hear 1,000 thoughts at once. Like, have you ever watched a movie where somebody discovers they're telepathic and it drives them absolutely insane because they can hear everything at once, so they can learn to control it? Like, that's kind of how I feel it is. And like Blake said, if someone can learn to control it, that's fine. But a majority of people just can't. Like, there's just, and that's why it's, you know, it's such a bad thing. And one of the things that was telling to me was the gentleman that talked about how he built the algorithm for YouTube to send you down the rabbit hole. During the documentary, he advertised there are Chrome extensions you can get to stop that algorithm. Yeah. And he said, I wish I never made it.
Well, yeah, and then the interviewer, even when he was talking to him, was like, wait, so you're promoting something to break what you built? And he's like, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's like, go get it.
Yep.
He's like, yeah. Well, and to your point, Rich, like the algorithms and things like that, when you kind of talk about human brains and like the neurology of it, and to Blake's point as well, like it's an interesting combination there, because there are some people that can handle that and they can break out of that. This is reality, right? Like, that's not reality. That's what people are putting forward on social media to make it look like whatever. And so to Blake's point, like, there are some people that realize that, right? But just like some people can go to a casino or some people can go to a bar and they can have a couple of drinks and then leave, like, there are people that spend their evening there, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And the guys were talking about the algorithms, and like these algorithms, like the thing they said a couple of times was, this AI, because it is AI.
Mhm.
Like people are like, oh, AI is something in the future. Like, no, it's now. Like this is AI. But these AIs don't know what truth is.
Right.
They don't have discernment. So, like what they know is what you will interact with and what you're feeding. And so they will give you what you're feeding. And these algorithms will learn at such an exponential rate, and that our brains haven't developed like that. They haven't changed since, I guess not changed, but evolved, and they can't evolve at that rate. We're just not capable of doing that. So it's a completely unfair fight. Like it will beat you eventually, which is crazy.
Yeah, one of the interesting things about the algorithm that they mentioned was that it purposely puts you in an echo chamber because it knows what you like. So if you want to hear this specific thing, it's going to make sure that's all you hear.
Yeah. Did you guys the Google piece where they're like, like if I'm in a different state, I could Google the exact same thing you do, and I'm going to get different responses.
Yep, it's going to know exactly. Yep, what you
based on where you are. It's going to give you a different.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
And your search history and all that, like you will get a different Google response. So when somebody's like, Google it, I'm like, I can't anymore because
it's scary.
Depending on where I'm at.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and the piece about also kind of what Rich was talking about, especially with like all of the things that are going on right now with the pandemic and like politics, and like it just seems like such a loud moment in time, right? And they said that they did some studies, and the quote unquote fake news, the stuff that's not real, like that is deliberately false, travels 6 times faster than the truth. And it goes 6 times as far.
Yeah. And the problem is, like, now, like, it's so easy for someone to plant someone, especially with politics. Like you can someone on the left could have someone act like they're on the right and cause a scene just to make them look bad. You know what I'm saying? Or vice versa. Like I don't know if you've heard talks of that or not, you know, but man, I think I kind of follow under the category of I was getting too much. Even Rich kind of told me a few weeks ago, was like, dude, you just need to turn it off. Because it was like all of these shootings and all of this police brutality, and I'm just like, what are we doing? Like, you know, I feel like we're celebrating criminals more than we are, you know, cops, and you know, we're being told to hate cops, and like it was just a lot. And I mean, I've tried to turn off most of it, and just, you know, you got to keep your ear to a little bit of it. But I mean, Rich text us about another incident this week that I didn't even know about the someone came up and just shot the cops that were in the car, and then they were, I guess, protesting outside the hospital. I heard no news on that, which I find amazing that, you know, none of my sports athletes decided to tweet about that. But, you know, anyways, I won't go down that path. So, you know, it just, I don't know. I don't know if we can coexist. Like, so I guess I'll say this, like, so what's the future then? I mean, like, I know you guys are turning off the notifications and all that, but like, is that how it's just going to have to get to where it just gets to a point where everyone just, I mean, every day I get on Facebook. Well, I really don't get on Facebook every day, but you know, whenever you get on Facebook, you always see somebody, well, that's it. If you guys need to get a hold of me, email me at, you know, I'm leaving Facebook. It always cracks me up that people have to make an announcement when they leave Facebook. But I mean,
Rich did that the right way.
Yeah, I just laughed at people were like, where are you?
Yeah, that's what I did. I did it like Richard. Like, I just left, like, because the people that I talk to anyway. Like, cause I feel like Facebook is more of like a acquaintance book. Like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, you're like, you're just having conversations with a bunch of people that you don't feel are good enough to be your friends. You get what I'm saying? Like, because they don't even have your number, right?
Right. Well,
you're not good enough to make the cut, but you're borderline, so I'll keep you in my friends, right? That's how I feel, man.
Yeah, it is funny because it's like I don't
Facebook is
communicate.
full of side chicks.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is funny because like I don't like any of my friends. I don't ever communicate to them through Facebook.
Right.
Like,
They
ever.
got your number. They can
Like
text you.
ever.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll send you this
I mean,
picture. Hey, I got this going on.
Like I feel like it used to be where like I could get on there and have like basketball debates or whatever. We some buddies crack jokes on each other, whatever. But like even that, I'm like, I don't even know. Like someone's gonna say something to try to make me mad, or to tell me basketball sucks or something, just to get under my skin. It's just like I don't even care to post anymore.
You get that over text every
Right.
day. You don't need that on Facebook too.
yeah, I know.
exactly.
I already have a group chat that does that for me.
Yeah, but why beat yourself up even more? Like, no need for that.
I got this.
yeah. It's the last notification. Yeah, sometimes a text message from you guys is just as bad as a notification
Yeah.
from Facebook.
We'll
It's like,
yeah, we'll
someone's gonna
chop
ruin my
you
day.
down quick.
Yeah, someone's got a mass joke to send my way.
Right. And then it opens up the whole of like a lot of people, like we call it freedom of speech. A lot of people shouldn't talk. Like I shouldn't hear
Right.
everybody's opinion. It's overwhelming. Like I don't need that argument, right? Like
Yeah.
I was having moments where I was typing this long thing, and I'm just like, all right, I'm just gonna delete it.
I don't care
It's
that
not even
much.
worth my time, right?
Yeah.
Right?
I do the
I'm not
same
gonna
thing.
argue, so it's just like,
Well,
Like,
I think
if-
I think everybody has that in them where they just want their opinion to be put out there. It's like you see a situation, you're like, well, that's not how I perceive it, and then you want to voice that opinion, but just
But
like
who
what you're
cares?
saying, Zach,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
Right.
I can't tell you
Like,
how many
who
times
cares?
I
Right.
can't tell you how many times I write something out and delete it. Just like
Yeah.
you said, it's just like I don't. I don't even. I mean,
You kind of realize that no matter what you say to somebody, you're not going to change their mind over Facebook. Like it's not.
Right.
I don't know in the history of people.
100% right to everybody.
Yeah, in the history of people, I've never known someone on Facebook to go, "Oh, you're right." Like I've never seen that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's and in watching that movie, I was just like, and I thought back to like the previous 2 weeks of stuff that I've been posting and like conversation I've been having and like sidebars on people's posts. I'm like, why am I doing that?
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like
It's
I
a
mean,
rabbit hole too.
yeah, and I
It's a
fell
rabbit
for it. I fell
Yeah.
for it for sure. And I would go and be like, hey, did anybody like that? Did anybody respond to it? I went like,
Dopamine.
You want that gratification.
yeah, I was looking for an argument. I was looking for whatever, right? And like it's crazy.
And
And I-
realistically, if you really want to make a difference, there are better ways than to go on a Facebook.
Right. Well, I don't know about you guys, but
Yeah, go to Twitter.
it was yes, yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah.
Well, at least it'll compact your response. You've only got a couple of hundred characters to work with.
Yeah.
Right.
Just
Yeah,
like-
I can't write a book.
right. Well, did you guys at all? Because I know I did. Like while I was watching it, I kind of kept track of how many times that I went to grab my phone while I was watching it.
Yep.
Like it made me so conscious of it. I was like,
Mhm.
why am I trying to grab my phone when I'm watching this movie? Like telling
You
me
know
to
what-
not touch my phone.
You know what I kept on wanting to do? Post about it on Facebook. How everybody needs to watch it. I
Right.
typed it out. I was like, hold on. But I was typing out as like, hey, something like everyone that has their phone reading this should watch this, and then throw your phone away. It was like, and then
Right.
I just deleted it and never sent it.
Yeah. Because
that
somebody would
was
reply
a lot.
about why it was wrong and how the documentary was incorrect. Like you would get one of those.
Oh, I'm
Right.
sure that's already out there.
Yeah.
I guarantee it.
Well, yeah. Well, and I guess the next question I have for you guys is, and kind of bringing back what Blake was like, what is the future then? Like, how do we
What do we
fix
do?
what we're so far down already? Like, and I know they talk about regulation
Yeah.
and bringing the government into it because the companies can't regulate themselves, and that makes sense. Same thing with like what Boeing and all that's
Yes.
been going on right now.
Yep.
Like that's proof positive.
That was major
these
news today.
companies they cannot police themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But is government regulation the way to go? Because then that's just more work that the government is being asked to do on our behalf because we can't control ourselves. And I say we as in not like us, but like the majority of people. And it's easy to say they, right? And it's like, I can control myself, I can do that or whatever, but
Not
I
everybody
don't know.
can.
Yeah.
So, but see that I almost stop you there because I think that what you just said right there is in question. Can we control ourselves? I don't know if we really know how bad of a country we are, right? Because we're only seeing the bad. I feel like, and we're seeing more of it because of cameras and news and all that. So it's like there's part of me that feels like we have to be living in a safer world because of technology.
Like
right?
negativity sells.
Or it could
to
be
your
far
point.
worse. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff you're not seeing.
Yeah. To your point though, negativity sells. Like
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's the problem. And that's, you know, I mean, dude, I don't know. I don't know what you do. Like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like we are so, you know, let's go back on what, so let's talk about what the documentary is trying to do. What the whole point of the documentary was, like you said, was to help. Basically, their whole point was, from part of what I took from it was, let's stop making these so addicting. Like when we see that suicide rates are high, or that this or this or this is causing depression, we have to start treating this as a cancer, you know, or as something that is causing harm to our kids, to our next generations. Excuse me. Even if it's making us lazy, if we have too many people laying in a bed doing this,
Hours.
Yep.
You know, hours. Yeah, and it's so. I mean, and it's easy to do. And if you're not doing this, you flip it around and you play a video game. you know, or it's tough because it's one of those things where it's just like we have the greatest tool like ever made. Like this is the most amazing thing.
It really is
made. It's provided
Honestly.
jobs.
Your whole life is in that bad boy.
It has changed
Yeah.
everything. I left my wallet at home. Don't worry. I still got me some Chick-fil-A because I have their app, right? I mean, that literally happened tonight. So, you know, I mean, I just hate to see it become such, you know, a negative thing. And maybe it's that this is great. It's just it's the apps that are bad.
Yeah, I don't think their
apps that are
intent was
bad.
a phone per se, but more the apps that are on the phone.
Yeah.
I
You're right.
think
kinda
that's
took that down the wrong path, but you're right.
yeah, I think I won't harp on it, but yeah, I think
It's accessibility though too. It's like being able to do it at a snap of the finger all the time.
right.
If you really had to get up like back in the day and log in like AOL, would you keep going to do that every 5 minutes?
right. Hell no. No.
Yeah. So I mean,
Just that
it's kinda like that.
dial tone. No, I'm not doing that
Yeah.
for
If you
30
can
times
just
a day.
click the app, I mean, it takes you 5 seconds to get in and you're there.
And
Right.
if you see that little spinning wheel, you X out of it and you just go move
Yeah.
on with your day. You don't even think. You're just like, oh,
Yeah,
well,
you don't even do it. You don't
I'll
even
look
do
it up later. It's just,
And I do think you're gonna see the government step in because like they have to save us from ourselves, right? It was like he was talking about how like the Saturday morning cartoon stuff, like as far as like you gotta have regulations and stuff like that. I've never seen anything like regulated on Facebook and YouTube and stuff like that. I don't know how that works, but like I know I can go into anything, you know? So
I think there's big conversations about that. That's why they have those. That's why they had like Zuckerberg on Capitol Hill and like doing these things in front of the Congress and whatnot. But like they keep saying like it's fine, we can take care of it. We'll police ourselves, and because the government doesn't want to overstep and become bigger government, and I get that. Like they can't control
Big
everything.
brother.
I understand that. So they're like, okay, well, do it, but they're not doing it. Right, because
because you know,
it's
I know my kid can probably see anything on there. Like, I mean, we used to catch it. Like, you know how YouTube sends you in the wormhole. Like, you think you're looking at one thing, and she clicks on one thing that she's not supposed to watch. Like I know it from experience. So,
yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
the YouTube guy too, how he was talking about like he's like, yeah, an easy way to kind of help just break those AIs and those algorithms is like never click on a video that's suggested to you.
Okay.
And I was like, that makes so much sense, but like I never would have thought of that. Like, because it's like here's the stuff you want. And I'm like, nope, back up, look for it yourself if you want to see it.
Yeah, it's machine learning. What it does is it'll assign a number to each video you watch, and then the greater like the numbers start happening on averages, the machine learning then knows which way to dive for you. That's how that kind of thing works. It's interesting.
Well, and there's the mentality. There's also in learning too. Like, we found there's the idea of micro learning.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same kind of concept in that YouTube is really good at giving you 5-minute, 6-minute, 10-minute max videos because they found that your attention level peaks at 10 minutes. If it's a 15-minute video, they're less likely to get clicks on it.
I'm not even gonna watch it.
And so you're much more likely to get views if you have 30 minutes worth of content, but break it into 3 10-minute videos.
Mm-hmm.
Because somebody will watch a 10-minute video and see, hey, check out part 2. Cool, 10 minutes, bam. But they're not going to sit and watch a 30-minute video. But they will watch 3 hours of 10-minute videos. So
I've heard a lot of comedians. I've heard a lot of comedians talk about that, where they do their whole special, and they're like 20, 25, 30 minutes in it. People are just kind of like, I'm over it. I'm, next video, next comedian. Isn't it funny how you just, I do it too. How far do you guys get into a podcast before you're just kind of like, let's see what else is out there? The conversation's really got to be good. Rogan's probably the only person that I try to stick with just because he always gets so deep. But yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting time.
Have you ever noticed that that's when at those 10-minute marks, those halfway points, that's when they put in the ads too?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's like that's how it's devious when you really break it down. It's just like
and it really is hilarious because I am a person that goes down that YouTube rabbit hole like something serious, and and what's funny is like I don't got time for a 5-minute video, but I'll watch 20 3-minute videos, and it's like you wasted that time anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's hilarious just to hear it from another person. I'm like, but I do that all the time. That's every day.
Yeah.
Like
We all do. We all do. Every minute is filled with a thought or a song or a podcast or a book or or you just get on there to shop or it's just crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's so funny how they get it to like work, and I like how they were using the magician as an example, right?
Yeah.
That was nice the way they did that. It's really good.
Yeah, it becomes magic. Yeah. Well, I know at one point in time, Susie had kind of done we tried to do the whole thing of like no phones in the bedroom. Like when we go to bed, like no devices after X amount of time at night. And that lasted for like a couple of weeks, but then we were like, hey, let's watch a video or whatever before we go to bed or whatever. And now like we just have our phones in there again, like, so I commend you guys because so Kevin, you're not on Facebook either then?
I got rid of Facebook last election.
Holy cow. Yeah. See, I commend you guys on that.
It's going to be nuts.
Oh yeah.
And it's just because of like I don't care about like it just it's like it's basically what Blake said. I think it was last week. Like I'm getting so many opinions that I don't even know my own opinion anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Because
how
I'm
can,
hearing
how can
I'm
so
supposed to
many
make this
people-
important. Yeah, how many people? Yeah, think they know
How
what
can
they're
so
talking
many
about.
people have so many different opinions and thoughts and
It's all,
And
it's
like-
all the same.
Yeah, and I mean, if you hear it from like the maker of Facebook, like half the stuff you're looking on there is fake news, and like And like I sent you guys that one video where the lady's talking, the guy's talking to the lady, and she's like, well, where'd you find that out? Facebook. Like that. Like I would say 75% of people walk around. That's probably like 100% of the news they get every day.
Yeah, probably.
Because we don't. I know we don't always watch news.
No.
Like I probably watch the news maybe 2 or 3 times a year. But like you'll see stories on that. What's real? What's real?
You don't know.
You don't know what's real. You're just getting different people's opinions.
But more than that, what people are seeing is a notification and a headline, and that's it. They don't ever click on that.
They don't even read it.
And then they text their friend, "Oh my God, there's a shooting," or "Oh my God, there's a fire." Or no one reads it, or it's a 10-second video on Instagram.
Yeah, or it's a paragraph that really didn't even say what happened.
Right.
You know?
Dude,
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It tells you nothing.
There's been a number of times I've seen people like post something and they're like, see, this is what I'm talking about. And then like I actually read the article and I'm like, you didn't read that because that is absolutely 100% contrary to your entire argument. Like,
yeah, you just repost it.
You saw you saw a headline that you thought pointed in your direction, but it's not. Like, read it. So yeah it's nuts, man.
You know, I think a lot of it too is that when there's certain, like, especially when there's certain topics, like when you really just can't understand how somebody else could not understand your point of view or your perspective, I think that that drives people crazy. And that's why they're on that message board, because it's like, I've got to convince this person to think and to understand my side. Like, how do these people not understand my side? You know, and it just drive you crazy, you know, on
or they can go to a full message board where it's only people that take your side.
Yep.
That's not healthy for you either.
That's not healthy either. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So what's healthy? Like, I mean, is it just, you know, I mean, because in a way you would think a community is healthy, right? I mean, I feel like I've always heard that it's good to have people, it's good to have a community, but now it's like we have this community, but it's all these people from all these different walks of life, and it's
and so is it a community or is it an echo chamber, right? It's like it's a number of people, but like,
is it a good community? Is it a healthy community?
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, because you've got Skid Row in LA. That's not a good community. You know what I mean?
I would compare it to being schizophrenic. Like, you hearing all these voices telling you what to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the closest thing to being schizophrenic ever, dude. It's overwhelming. When you think of it like that.
So there was another documentary, I'm sure y'all heard about this, Cuties, which has gotten my wife to want to cancel Netflix, and I guess a lot of other people have canceled Netflix too. So have you guys heard about all this?
Why we canceling? Hold on. Why we canceling Netflix? That's why we're getting half our content is from Netflix documentaries. What's up with Cuties? I don't know anything about it. I heard Richard make a joke on it, and I've heard a little bit.
Of course,
about
I did.
It, but somebody dropped some knowledge on me.
Okay, so just to kind of start off here, I have not watched it, but I've heard a lot about it, and I've heard from people that have watched it. So apparently, Cuties is a documentary that talks about the world of dance and how it, I don't know if the right word is, subjugates little girls to sexualization.
To dance sexually.
Yes. So, and how, you know, these companies make all this money off of it, and how, you know, how it mainly seems to target girls in poor communities or minorities. So that's the gist of the movie. The things that bother people about the movie are some of the scenes in it. Like, I will never watch it. Like, I understand it's probably an important subject, but I do not want to watch an 11-year-old girl dance sexually. Like, I just will not do it. Like, I know that's in there because people have told me it's in there, and I'm not doing it. You know, it's almost like, have you guys seen the movie about the guy that killed the cats?
Yeah.
Okay, I almost turned it off because I was like, I don't want to see someone kill cats.
Yeah,
but
I'm trying to remember what that was called, but yeah,
it's like don't fuck with cats on the internet or
Don't
something
fuck
like
with
that.
cats. Yeah.
Yeah,
don't fuck with
it's kind of the same vein, but it's like, you know, where like I almost turned it off because I thought they were going to show me a cat being killed, but they didn't.
That
So,
first scene was tough.
but in this one, they don't pull away like they did in the cats. They show you.
I'm good, bro.
And so it's a little. I can imagine it's a little hard to take in, and I can understand why people, you know, the whole cancel Netflix thing, whatever. We want to cancel everything nowadays, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, and I can understand that to a point, but I think people need to understand, like, the purpose of the movie is a documentary that shows that this is a problem. And I think in some aspects, a lot of what they show is there for shock value, to show you that this is legit. This is what's going on. And, you know, and I know, Kevin, your daughter did a lot of dance in her age, and my son does dance. So I see, you know, and I don't see the hyper sexualization of girls there, but there are times I see outfits and I'm like, nah, I'm gonna walk away now.
That's why we're not in dance.
Yeah, it's just, you know, yeah, it's just, I don't know. Like, and the thing is they're
Tough,
like at my son's, they don't do that. Like, she makes a point to do that, to not, but still, like, in my mind is like, I can't, you know, I don't know. It's just, you know, you see all these movies and, you know, like this, and then you see other movies like, I don't know, like Cheer, stuff like that. You're like, oh my God, like, what is going on? And then wasn't there some other movie like where they showed the beauty pageants, the little girls in beauty pageants?
Yeah.
documentary about that.
Was
too.
it Toddlers and Tiara or something?
That was a show. That
Was it?
like, kind of followed him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just stuff like
reminding
that.
me of the scene in Bad Grandpa. Remember when he dresses the little boy up
And he does the money.
She's
Right.
sitting there dancing. Best scene ever, dude.
Uh.
Like, but he gave that shock value, and the people are like,
Uh-huh.
we're not really like that. But like, it's like we say all the time, like, there's good sides of it and there's really bad sides of it, right?
Right.
And it affects different people. It doesn't affect everybody,
Mm-hmm.
but it affects those certain people, and we don't want them to go that way, right?
Yeah. I think the biggest complaint people had about it was that they felt like it gave sexual predators something to see on Netflix. And in my opinion of it is, if you're down that kind of a path where you are a sexual predator, you're not getting your stuff from Netflix. Like,
Right.
you're going to the dark web, or you're swapping hard drives. You're doing something else. Netflix isn't even in your mind. I guarantee you that if you're down that path, that movie isn't even going to do anything for you.
No.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And I think to your point, like, I mean, could that potentially be something that somebody that finds that stuff interesting, is that something that they would enjoy? Possibly, yeah, but that was never the intent of the whole thing. It is to bring attention to something that is very real and is a very huge problem. But like, people are again, it's becoming a political thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and that's not what it is. Like, I think a lot of stuff anymore is becoming a right-left issue when the issue is a humanitarian issue. Like,
Right.
That's the difference. And like, just because you and I don't necessarily agree on how to fix it, or the way that we should talk about it, or when we should talk about it, or who should talk about it, like, that doesn't mean that I'm wrong or that you're wrong or that whatever. And it doesn't mean that this political party has the right, I don't know,
Yeah.
like, role for it or whatever. But like, we need to have the conversations and not yell at each other. And that's where we're at anymore, is anybody that does not agree with the way that I see it, kind of to Blake's point, is like, why don't you understand the way I see it? Like, and I will yell at you until you do.
Right. Yeah.
I've not watched it, and I won't watch it.
Watching that. Right, right.
I know what it's about. I get it. I don't need to see it.
No.
So who's the audience?
I mean, the audience is the general population. I think, you know, I think they were trying to get a point across in using shock value. And I think the other thing we have to understand, I think that this was made by a French director too. and not saying like, oh, they're French, they don't know, but we have to understand that their, whatever it is, culture may view it differently. Like, and I'm not saying they're pedophiles, but they may not, have the same reaction we do. Do you know what I mean? Like they're over there, like over here, we are okay with violence, but we're not okay with sex, right? In terms of what our kids watch, right?
Right.
But over there, they're not okay with violence, but they're okay with sex. Like, so I think maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. But yeah, I just think it's just supposed to be for a general, and I just think those shock value scenes just did not hit the point they were trying for.
This is something
to me. It's beneficial. There's some stuff that's beneficial in it, right? Like, so, like, all right, let's talk about how our young girls are being sexualized, right? Like, so as a parent, you can look at it and be like, all right, I want to protect my child or make the situation better for my child. Maybe I can look at this as an education, part. That's how I kind of see it.
I just looked
but
it
I'm
up.
not gonna watch it.
Yeah, like I just found this little snippet of an interview with the director, the writer and the director. It was like, how, and the question is just this, and kind of goes to what you were saying, Blake, about who's the audience then, like, right? Who's the intended audience? And the question is, how have you been dealing with the fallout amid Netflix's marketing catastrophe? And she said, in the beginning, it was paradoxical for me because the film was getting great press and a great audience reaction. Now I realize that the people who started the controversy haven't yet seen the film. Netflix has apologized to the public and to myself, but I'm hoping that these people will watch the movie now that it's out. I'm eager to see the reaction when they realize that we're both on the same side of this fight against young children's hypersexualization. So I think the intended audience for people that, like, they're like, oh yeah, child trafficking is a thing or whatever, but they don't realize to what extent, right? Like this, it's not something that just happens in seedy alleyways or whatever. Like,
this is out there.
It was on a stage
and accepted.
Like the reason that she made this movie was because she was in France and went to go see this show, and it was girls, like not women, girls on this stage and a place in France. Then she was like, what the hell? Like,
yeah, what is going on?
What is this? Yeah. So it's not even just kind of in the dark corners anymore. Like, it's in the open.
Yeah.
And so I think
stages, like you said.
Right. So I don't know and I think that might have been the intended audience, but where that fell, who knows? But
yeah, and that goes on to talk about the echo chamber, right? You get a few people that are loud, and somebody clicks on it, and next thing you know, it becomes fact to you, because it's like they talked about one of the interesting things they talked about was what's his name, Kyrie Irving.
Planet Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, I just fell down a rabbit hole, so I believed it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And you know what? Big props to him for being like, nah, I was wrong. My bad. Like,
you just can't help but laugh now. You're like, oh, I've done that too.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
It almost makes him more endearing. It's like, all right, we're cool.
Yeah,
I got you.
Yep.
I like you now.
Yeah,
right.
We've all been drunk at 3 a.m, clicking on the next on YouTube. Like,
right.
Bigfoot is real.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
What if the reason there's never a good picture of him is because he is blurry?
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Right, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. There you go. That's funny. Yeah, it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see what comes of that, because I mean, like I said, my wife immediately was like, "Well, we're canceling Netflix," and I was like, "Well, I think there's a lot of content on Netflix that we don't approve with. So why now? Like, why this one or whatever?" But obviously, if it's promoting, being a pedophile or whatever, obviously, I don't want anything to do. I don't want anything to do with it. But but it is like, just hearing you say what the director of it said. Once again, it's funny how it just turns into, like, everybody already knows about this show and everybody knows that it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
So who's going to watch it? A lot of people are going to watch it to see how bad it is. Like,
Just
is
for
it
shock
really that
value,
bad?
yeah.
Well, let me see it, right? So it just, like, how does that one become the one that everyone talks about for a week. Let's be honest, nobody will talk about it next week. But
That's fair.
you know,
That's fair
just
too.
yeah, it's like sometimes I wonder if there's something to that, you know, or if it is just a shocking. It's that shocking to where it's like, whoa, should we be watching this? But in reality, it's the director showing you, hey, this is the stuff that's going on. Like, wake up, you know.
Right.
So once again, it's all how you perceive it.
You know what it kind
I
of
haven't watched it. None of us have watched it, and we probably will never watch
Nah.
it. And we're sitting
Right.
here talking about
Right.
it.
you know what it
Right.
reminds me of
Right.
in high school. Did you ever have to watch those drunk driving videos with the dead kids?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of the
What
same
driving
thing.
school did you go to?
you didn't?
Yeah.
Oh man, did
It's like as a
nobody else?
as
Was
a
that just me?
sophomore.
You, Rich? You saw him, okay?
Oh yeah. That's why I just said it. It was like it's
It
Sounds
was
like an after
horrifying.
school special video.
shock value.
It was bad. Like like a wrecked car, and then you see some kid just like hanging out the window,
Yep.
like all
Calling out?
bloody and,
Really?
Mhm.
Oh
All
yeah,
dramatic.
Mhm.
yeah.
Well,
It's like
Scare 'em to be
and
safe.
Robbie never went to prom. Like
Oh, yeah.
wow.
Yeah. It's like, oh my God, I know Robbie.
Right.
yeah, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
too funny.
Oh man.
Well, I don't know where you guys are at, but I want to say thank you for kind of allowing me to kind of hijack a little bit and
Yeah.
toss out an idea, because I knew it'd be a good conversation. I knew you guys would have some interesting insights and thoughts on that
Awesome.
that whole thing.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you sent it to us.
Yeah, it was
Word.
good.
Because I started seeing it pop up all over social media too. Like
Really?
right after you said that, yeah, it kind of became the new documentary everybody's watching. I think.
Interestingly enough, that I think it's going to spread really fast because of the thing that it's trying to warn people about, which is interesting.
And what if everybody turns it off right before the election? Everyone gets rid of Facebook. Like, you know how different it'd be?
Mhm.
Everybody would be so, I bet everyone would be so calm.
Mhm.
I might just get rid of the app. I get hit up. I got to use it for photography though. Like I still got that connection. So maybe I can just turn off my personal page and just keep my photography or something. But I don't know. I'll figure out something.
Yeah,
Turn
I'm
off the notifications if anything.
going to do a definite friend sweep at the absolute least. Just
Yeah.
because I've
People
got
do the
thousands,
purge.
I've got thousands of people on there, and I don't know thousands
know.
of people. Like
No.
Right.
Nor do I want to know thousands
No.
of people. Or
There's, like,
what
there's 3 people that I like, and I live with 2 of them.
I was getting ready to say none of them live with you.
Ah!
None of them are on
Well-
this podcast with you.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
Hey, have you guys ever been on there though, and you're like, "Hey, I think I know this person, but I don't know, but they're friends with a person I do know, and so I'm requesting them as friend." Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I used to hate that too. Like it's like thinking like,
What
why
you
am I
accept-
accepting this person? Yeah,
Yeah. It's like, oh, I had a class with him in 4th grade. That's why he's friend requesting me.
Right.
Which,
He
you
could
know,
be-
like in a way, that's the cool part of it. Like that, I think that's
it's
kind of
cool, but in a way, it could be the dude that's killing cats.
right?
You know,
Yep.
Yeah, because you haven't seen him
that's,
since
that's
4th
the
grade.
weird thing, right?
Yeah.
That's the
what it
weird.
started.
That's the
Yeah.
weird thing, man.
That's the guy that's
He
got
was weird
cuties
back
on
then.
repeat.
Right. That's awesome. That was the weirdest thing that I thought about it, man. But I mean, like, if anything, the pandemic has taught me, resetting and getting back to basics is always good, man, because you don't know what's going to be going on in 2020 next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Fire tornadoes, which are happening.
Oh yeah. That was interesting.
What it's just,
Right.
and it's so weird that it's 2020. Like, not that year has any, meaning or whatever. It's just, I don't know. I feel like everyone thought 2020 was going to be a good year, and then
I know that was the expectation. It was
Oh.
like, thank God 2019's behind us, and here we go.
Yeah. Like the year 2021 probably is so excited. 2021 is like, you know what? There's no way
Yep.
we do worse than 2020.
Yep. The last employee was so
2020.
terrible. I'm gonna be great.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
2021 doesn't have to do anything. Just like, as a matter of fact, just don't do anything. Do nothing, please.
2021 has pots of gold around every corner.
Yep.
Lucky Charms, pots of gold.
Keep our favorite basketball
Unicorns.
players alive. Let us be healthy. Yeah. It's
Every-
just crazy.
Everybody gets rich.
Yeah, that's right.
All
Right?
right, we ready to punch it?
Yeah, let's punch it.
Punch that card.
Mine's gone
Stamp it.
too.
Stamp it.
I ruined mine right before this podcast.
That's because you didn't delete Netflix.
No, that's because I was rushing. I was like, "You gonna close this door?"
I hope that's all on this podcast.
It is. It is.
Yeah. You won't see that card. No more printouts.
Just delete the whole file. Get rid of the computer.
Yep, the file is corrupted.